They've spent my entire life treating me like a failure for being unmarried. Now they suddenly need me to bankroll their princess party. They think I'll just bow my head and transfer the money like I always do. But this time, they're going to regret it, because after 8 months of complete silence, they want $19,000 for a baby shower, and I'm about to show them exactly what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness. My name is Emily Carter, and I've been erased from my own family. It's been 11 months since I moved to Boulder, Colorado, and in all that time, not a single phone call, not one text message asking how I'm settling in, whether I'm okay, if I need anything. The silence from Ridgefield, Ohio feels deliberate now, calculated in its completeness. My parents, my sister Madison, my aunts and uncles, they've all mastered the art of pretending I don't exist. But I'm learning to prefer it this way. My apartment is a modest one-bedroom on the 3rd floor of a converted Victorian house near downtown Boulder. The rent is $850 a month, which felt steep when I first moved here, but now it feels like freedom. Every dollar I spend is mine. Every decision about the cracked bathroom tile or the squeaky bedroom door is mine to make. I've painted the living room a warm sage green, something my mother would have called too bold, and hung mismatched art prints I found at local thrift stores. The work keeps me busy. Brightpoint Solutions isn't exactly a household name, but it's a solid consulting firm specializing in operational efficiency for mid-sized businesses. I help companies streamline their processes, eliminate waste, identify bottlenecks. There's something satisfying about walking into a chaotic situation and methodically organizing it into something functional. My colleagues respect my work, and my boss, Janet, has already hinted at a promotion track that could have me managing my own team within 2 years. Most evenings, I walk the Pearl Street Mall, watching street performers and browsing bookstores. On weekends, I hike the Flatirons or drive up to Rocky Mountain National Park. The mountains have a way of putting things in perspective. They make my family's drama feel very small and very far away. Sometimes I meet up with Sarah, a fellow transplant from Michigan who works at the local library. We grab coffee and talk about books, about adjusting to altitude, about anything except why we left our hometowns behind. The loneliness hits at unexpected moments, like when I'm grocery shopping and see a mother helping her adult daughter pick out avocados, their easy banter making me pause in the produce aisle, or when I pass families hiking together on the weekends, teenagers rolling their eyes at their parents' enthusiastic photo-taking. But mostly, the quiet feels like relief. Back in Ohio, every family gathering was an interrogation. Madison would corner me with questions about my dating life, her voice sweet but her eyes sharp with judgment. Still no boyfriend. You know, my friend Jessica met her husband on that app. What's it called? Maybe you should try it. My mother would sigh dramatically whenever the subject of grandchildren came up, as if my single status was a personal affront to her legacy. My father would retreat behind his newspaper, uncomfortable with the tension but unwilling to intervene. Here in Colorado, nobody cares that I'm 32 and unmarried. My neighbor Mrs. Rodriguez brings me homemade tamales sometimes, but she asks about my work, not my relationship status. The barista at my regular coffee shop knows my order medium dark roast with oat milk but has never once asked why I always come in alone. It's revolutionary, this absence of judgment. I've built something here. It's small and it's mine, and it doesn't require anyone's approval. My savings account has grown steadily without the constant drain of family emergencies. I've started taking Spanish classes at the community center. I bought a used bike and discovered I actually enjoy cycling through the Boulder Creek path on Sunday mornings. I've even been thinking about adopting a cat from the local shelter. The irony isn't lost on me. For years, my family treated my independence like a character flaw, something to be pitied or corrected. But here I am, finally living the life they always insisted I needed, just not in the way they imagined. I'm not looking for someone to complete me or validate my choices. I'm not waiting for permission to be happy. Every evening, as I sit on my small balcony watching the sunset paint the mountains purple and gold, I think about how quiet my phone has been, how peaceful it feels to know that nobody is going to call asking for money, for favors, for emotional labor disguised as family obligation. I've been forgotten, and it turns out that being forgotten can feel a lot like being free. At least, that's what I thought before the letter arrived. The envelope arrives on a Tuesday afternoon in early October, wedged between a utility bill and a grocery store circular. I almost throw it away with the junk mail. The return address shows my parents' house in Ridgefield, but there's something formal about the cream-colored paper that makes me pause. Inside, there's a baby shower invitation printed on thick cardstock with elegant script font. Pink and gold borders frame the details. Join us in celebrating baby girl Carter, arriving December 2024, honoring Madison Carter. Saturday, November 16th, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The venue is listed as Grandview Manor, which I've never heard of but sounds expensive. Tucked behind the invitation is a handwritten note on my mother's monogrammed stationery. Her careful cursive fills the small page. Emily, darling, I hope you're doing well out there in Colorado. We've all missed you so much, and Madison is just over the moon about becoming a mother. You know how these things are. She wants everything to be perfect for her special day. The venue we've chosen is absolutely beautiful, overlooking the lake. But of course, these places don't come cheap. We're asking family to help with the costs, and we were hoping you could contribute toward the venue rental. It's $19,000, which I know sounds like a lot, but you've always been so generous with family. This would really mean the world to Madison, and it's such a wonderful opportunity for you girls to reconnect. Love, Mom. I read the note 3 times, each pass making my chest tighter. $19,000. Written out like that, so casually, as if she's asking me to pick up milk from the store. No mention of my job, my life, whether I'm happy or struggling or anything in between. Just the assumption that I exist to fund their celebrations. I set the invitation on my kitchen counter and stare at it while I make dinner. The elegant script seems to mock me. Honoring Madison Carter. When was the last time anyone honored me? When was the last time anyone in my family even remembered my birthday without Facebook reminding them? After dinner, I call my bank and check my savings balance. The number on the screen is substantial months of careful budgeting. No family emergencies to drain my accounts. No last-minute requests for loans that never get repaid. I could afford $19,000. That's what makes this so much worse. I pull out my laptop and Google Grandview Manor. The website loads with a slideshow of pristine ballrooms, manicured gardens, and crystal chandeliers. The tagline reads, "Where dreams become reality." I click through their photo gallery, sweeping staircases, marble floors, windows overlooking a pristine lake. Even the bathroom fixtures look like they belong in a luxury hotel. The pricing page requires a consultation, but a quick search reveals reviews from previous events. One bride mentions paying well over $20,000 for her reception. Another review praises the exclusive atmosphere and premium pricing that ensures an intimate guest list. This isn't a baby shower, this is a status symbol. I find myself scrolling through Madison's social media for the first time in months. Her Instagram is a carefully curated collection of pregnancy photos, nursery decorations, and sponsored content for maternity brands. In her most recent post, she's wearing a flowing white dress, hands cradled around her bump, standing in a field of sunflowers. The caption reads, "Feeling so blessed to be surrounded by family who support our dreams. Baby girl is so lucky to have such loving aunts and uncles and grandparents who would do anything for her." The comments are full of heart emojis and congratulations. I notice my mother has liked the post. So have my aunts, my cousins, family friends I haven't spoken to in years. It's like scrolling through a life I was never invited to join. I close the laptop and walk to my balcony. The October air is crisp, and the mountains are outlined against a star-filled sky. Somewhere in those peaks, there are people camping tonight, far from family obligations and social media performances. Part of me wants to grab my hiking gear and disappear into that wilderness, where baby showers and venue rentals and passive-aggressive notes can't reach me. But another part of me, the part that's been growing stronger since I moved to Colorado, is simply angry. 11 months of silence. And now they need me. Not want me. Need me. Because despite all their judgment about my life choices, despite treating my independence like a personal failing, they know exactly where to turn when they need someone reliable. Someone with a steady job and no dependents and a savings account built through years of saying no to herself so she could say yes to them. I think about Madison's wedding 3 years ago, when I contributed $4,000 toward her dress and shoes because you know how important this is to her, and she's your only sister. I think about the time my parents needed $8,000 for emergency roof repairs, and somehow I was the only family member in a position to help. I think about Madison's student loan payments that I covered for 6 months when she was between jobs and finding herself. They've never once asked how I'm doing with money. They've never offered to help me with anything. When I moved to Colorado, there was no offer to help with moving expenses or security deposits. When I started my new job, no congratulations call. When I had food poisoning last month and spent 2 days alone in my apartment, nobody even knew. But they know exactly how much money they need, and they know exactly who to ask. I go back inside and read my mother's note one more time. The phrase that sticks is, "You've always been so generous with family," as if generosity is my defining characteristic, my primary function, as if I exist to bankroll their happiness while they judge mine. I fold the note carefully and place it back in the envelope. Tomorrow, I'll need to decide how to respond. But tonight, I'm going to sit with the anger, let it settle into something harder and clearer than hurt. Because this time feels different. This time, I'm not the desperate daughter craving approval from a family that barely acknowledges my existence. This time, I'm someone with choices. And they're not going to like the choice I'm about to make. I can't sleep that night. So, at 2:30 in the morning, I open my laptop and do something I should have done years ago. I create a spreadsheet. The first column is labeled Date. The second is Amount. The third is Purpose. The fourth, which feels like twisting a knife, is Repaid. I start with my online banking records, scrolling back through 5 years of transaction history. Each Venmo payment, each wire transfer, each check written to a family member gets its own row. The numbers blur together at first, 200 here, 500 there, but as the spreadsheet grows, patterns emerge that make my stomach turn. Madison's student loan's 6 monthly payments of $450 when she decided to take a break from the corporate world to find her passion. Total $2,700. Repaid $0. My parents' roof repair $8,000 wired on a Friday afternoon because the contractor needs payment up front and we're short until Dad's pension check comes in. That was 18 months ago. Dad's pension has come in 18 times since then. Repaid $0. Madison's wedding dress $4,000 because she found the perfect one, but it's a little over budget. I remember how she cried on the phone, how she made it sound like her entire future happiness depended on that specific dress from that specific boutique. Repaid $0. Emergency car repairs for my parents $3,200 because their mechanic wouldn't take a check and they needed the work done immediately. Repaid $0. Madison's temporary help with rent during her job transition, 3 payments of $800 each. She got a new job 6 weeks after the first payment, but somehow needed 2 more months of assistance. Repaid $0. The graduation gift for Madison's master's degree, $1,500 for a celebration trip to Europe because she's worked so hard and deserves something special. I wasn't invited on the trip, of course. I just funded it. My father's medical bills, $2,500 for dental work not covered by insurance. I remember my mother's panicked call about how embarrassed he'd be to have missing teeth. Repaid $0. The list goes on and on. Christmas gifts for Madison's stepchildren, a down payment contribution for Madison's first apartment, emergency funds for various crises that always seemed to resolve themselves after my money arrived. By 4:15 in the morning, I'm staring at a total that makes me physically nauseous. $27,450. $27,000 given freely, without question, because family helps family. $27,000 that could have bought me a reliable car instead of the used Honda I've been nursing along. $27,000 that could have been a down payment on a condo here in Boulder. $27 that could have been dozens of trips, experiences, investments in my own life. I create a fifth column, their response. This one is harder to quantify, but the memories flood back with devastating clarity. When I sent the money for Madison's student loans, her response was a brief text. Thanks, with a heart emoji. When I covered her rent, she posted Instagram photos from expensive restaurants and new clothing hauls. When I paid for my parents' roof, my father mentioned it once in passing. Oh, we got that roof thing sorted out, as if the money had materialized from thin air. But it's the comments that cut the deepest. I start a sixth column, what they said. Madison, at last year's family Christmas party, loud enough for everyone to hear. Well, at least Emily has her money to keep her company since she's probably going to end up alone forever. My mother, during a phone call about my cousin's engagement. I just worry about you, sweetheart. Madison has built such a beautiful life with David. When are you going to stop being so picky and settle down? Madison again. At my father's birthday dinner, I feel so bad for women who hit their 30s without finding anyone. Like, what did they do wrong? You know. Each comment was delivered with a smile, disguised as concern, wrapped in the kind of casual cruelty that families specialize in. And after each one, I'd go home and tell myself they didn't mean it that way, that they were just worried about me. That family is complicated, but love is complicated too. Looking at this spreadsheet at 4:45 in the morning, the pattern is undeniable. I've been an ATM with feelings, a reliable source of funds who can be counted on to deliver money with minimal fuss and maximum gratitude. Someone who exists to solve their problems while they judge my life choices. I think about Madison's upcoming baby shower, about the $19,000 venue, about the casual assumption that I'll simply write another check. The baby isn't even born yet, and they're already positioning me as the generous aunt who shows her love through financial contributions. I wonder if they've already told people I'm paying for the venue. I wonder if Madison has been bragging to her friends about her successful sister who lives in Colorado and can afford to cover these kinds of expenses. I wonder if they've been counting on my money for so long that they can't even imagine I might say no. The anger that started as a slow burn yesterday has crystallized into something cold and sharp. It's not just about the money, though $27,000 is nothing to dismiss. It's about the fundamental disrespect, the way they've reduced me to a function rather than a person, the way they've taken my generosity and twisted it into evidence of my failures. I close the laptop as dawn starts to creep through my bedroom windows. The mountains are outlined in soft pink light, and somewhere in those peaks, people are waking up in tents, starting campfires, living lives unburdened by family obligation. For the first time in years, I'm starting to understand what that might feel like. I've spent so long trying to buy my way back into their good graces that I never stopped to ask whether those good graces were worth having. I've been so focused on proving I'm worthy of their love that I never questioned whether their version of love was worth pursuing. $27,000. That's not generosity. That's a down payment on my own self-respect. And I'm about to foreclose on theirs. 3 days after the invitation arrives, I get a text from my old high school friend Jessica, who still lives in Ridgefield. We haven't talked in months, but her message is casual. Saw Madison's baby shower registry online, looks like she's going all out. Here's the link if you want to check it out. I almost don't click it, but curiosity wins, and I find myself staring at a website that makes my blood pressure spike. The page is titled Baby Girl Carter's Arrival Celebration, with Madison's professional maternity photos as the header image. She's wearing a flowing cream dress, looking radiant and serene, one hand on her belly and the other reaching toward filtered sunlight. The tagline underneath reads, "Helping us welcome our little miracle in style." I scroll down to find the most elaborate baby registry I've ever seen. This isn't a list of practical necessities. It's a luxury catalog. A $1,200 convertible crib from a high-end furniture store. a $900 stroller system that looks like it belongs in a spaceship, custom nursery bedding for $450, a rocking chair that costs more than my monthly rent. But it's not just the prices that make my stomach turn. It's the contributing families section at the bottom of the page. Listed in elegant script are the names of relatives and their contributions: Jim and Carol Carter grandparents, nursery furniture suite; David's parents, baby gear essentials; Uncle Mike and Aunt Linda, clothing and accessories. A dozen other family members are listed with their specific gift categories. And then, at the very bottom, anonymous donor, venue and catering, $19,000. Anonymous donor, not Emily, not loving Aunt Emily, not even family friend, just anonymous donor, as if I'm some faceless benefactor whose only value is the size of my contribution. I screenshot this section and keep scrolling. There's a photo gallery titled Our Village, featuring candid shots from various family gatherings over the past year. Madison and David at Easter dinner, Madison opening gifts at what looks like an engagement party, a group shot from someone's birthday celebration at a restaurant. I'm in exactly none of these photos. Wait, that's not entirely true. I spot myself in the background of one image, but someone has clearly cropped the photo to minimize my presence. In the original, I remember standing between my mother and cousin Amy, laughing at something my father had said. In this version, I'm a partial face at the very edge of the frame, barely recognizable. But the family photos section reveals something even more deliberate. There's a then and now collage showing Madison through the year's high school graduation, college, her wedding, various holidays. In several of these photos, I know I was standing right next to her. I have the original versions on my own phone, but in every single image on this website, I've been edited out entirely. Not cropped out, edited out. Someone took the time to digitally remove me from family memories, filling in the backgrounds so seamlessly that casual viewers would never know anyone was missing. It's like watching my own erasure in real time. I find myself checking the timestamps on these photos. The Easter picture where I've been removed. That was taken 6 months ago, 2 months after I moved to Colorado. I remember that day I flew back specifically for the holiday, spent $800 on flights and a rental car. Madison had seemed genuinely happy to see me, hugging me tight and insisting I sit next to her at dinner. But in the version preserved for her baby shower website, I was never there at all. The section about the venue makes everything worse. There are professional photos of Grandview Manor with descriptions of each event space. The grand ballroom overlooks pristine Lake Harmony, accommodating up to 150 guests in elegant comfort. Our premium catering service offers seasonal menus crafted by award-winning chefs. Every detail is designed to create unforgettable memories for your most precious celebrations. At the bottom of the venue description, there's a note. We're so grateful to our generous family members who are making this dream celebration possible. Special thanks to our anonymous venue sponsor, You Know Who You Are, and your love means everything to us. Your love means everything to us, but apparently my presence doesn't mean enough to include my name or my face. I close my laptop and sit in my kitchen, staring at the baby shower invitation still propped against my coffee maker. The elegant script suddenly looks different, not festive, but calculating. Every word choice feels deliberate, designed to extract maximum guilt and compliance. My phone buzzes with another text from Jessica. Can't believe Madison's having it at Grandview Manor. That place is insane expensive. Good thing she has family who can help out, right? I wonder how many people in Ridgefield know that I'm funding this celebration. I wonder if Madison has been telling people about her successful sister in Colorado who's so excited to support her new baby. I wonder if they've been planning this for months, budgeting my contribution before they even bothered to ask for it. The anonymous donor label suddenly makes perfect sense. They want my money, but they don't want to acknowledge where it's coming from. They can't celebrate my contribution without acknowledging my existence, and acknowledging my existence would ruin the narrative they've created about their perfect family. I think about Madison's social media posts, all those captions about being surrounded by family who support our dreams. I think about my mother's handwritten note with its casual request for $19,000. I think about that spreadsheet of financial contributions. $27,000 given freely to people who literally edit me out of their family photos. For the first time since receiving the invitation, I laugh. It's not a happy sound. It's sharp and bitter and full of recognition. They've been so busy erasing me from their memories that they forgot I might have my own. They forgot that I keep records. They forgot that I have screenshots and bank statements and text messages. They forgot that the person they've been treating like an anonymous ATM might someday decide to stop being anonymous. I open my laptop again and take screenshots of everything: the registry, the family photos, the venue description, the anonymous donor designation. I save each image with a careful file name and date stamp. Because if they want to play games with my identity, if they want to take my money while pretending I don't exist, then it's time they learned what anonymity really costs. And it's going to cost them a lot more than $19,000. I call my mother on Thursday evening at 7:15, after I've had 3 days to process what I found on Madison's website. I've rehearsed this conversation in my head dozens of times, but when she answers with her usual cheerful, "Emily, what a lovely surprise," I almost lose my nerve. "Hi, Mom, I got the invitation." "Oh, wonderful. Isn't it beautiful Madison worked so hard on all the details? She's just beside herself with excitement." There's something in her voice, a forced brightness that I've never noticed before. Or maybe I've always noticed it but never let myself acknowledge what it meant. "I saw the website too." A pause. Just half a beat. But I catch it. "Oh, that. Well, you know how these young people are with their technology. Everything has to be online these days." "It's quite the registry. Mom, $1,200 for a crib." She laughs, but it sounds hollow. Madison has very specific tastes. She wants everything to be perfect for the baby. You know how first-time mothers are. "And the venue looks expensive." "Grandview Manor is beautiful. Really, Emily, you should see it. The photos don't do it justice. Madison fell in love with it the moment she walked in." I take a breath. This is the moment. $19,000. Mom. Silence. "That's a lot of money to ask for in a handwritten note." "Well," her voice becomes careful, measured. "We know you've done well for yourself out there, and family helps family. You know, that's what we do." Is it because I've been looking at my bank records, and I've helped family quite a bit over the years? But I'm curious, when exactly has family helped me? Another pause. Longer this time. "Emily, I don't understand what you're getting at." I'm getting at the fact that I've given this family over $27,000 in the past 5 years, and I can't think of a single time anyone has offered to help me with anything. "That's not Emily. You're being dramatic. We all help each other." Do we? When I moved to Colorado, did anyone offer to help with moving expenses? When I started my new job, did anyone call to congratulate me when I was sick last month? Did anyone even know? "You never told us you were sick." "You never asked how I was." The silence stretches so long I wonder if she's hung up. Finally, she speaks, and her voice has shifted from cheerful to defensive. "Emily, I don't know what's brought this on, but family is about more than money. Madison is having a baby. This is supposed to be a happy time." Happy for who I noticed I've been edited out of all the family photos on her website, even the ones where I was standing right next to her. "I don't know anything about photos." "But you know about the anonymous donor designation." "Right. That's me, isn't it? The anonymous donor who's supposed to pay for this whole thing while pretending not to exist." "Emily, you're twisting everything. Madison loves you." "Does she? When's the last time she called me? When's the last time any of you called me without needing something?" I can hear my mother breathing on the other end of the line. Can picture her in the kitchen where she always takes phone calls, probably leaning against the counter where she keeps her address book and grocery lists. "We've always been proud of you," she says finally, but there's no conviction in it. "Proud of what? My bank account?" "That's not fair." "Isn't it? Let me ask you something. Mom, and I want you to really think about your answer. If I didn't have money, if I was struggling financially, would you have invited me to this baby shower? The pause that follows is the longest yet. When she speaks, her voice is smaller. Of course we would have. But you wouldn't have asked me to pay for the venue. Well, no, but... So my invitation was conditional on my ability to pay $19,000. Emily, that's not how we meant it. But that's how it is, isn't it? You don't actually want me there. You want my money there. I could skip the whole thing and just send a check, and that would be fine with everyone. That's not true. Prove it. What? Prove it's not true. Tell me one thing, just one thing, that any of you have done for me in the past year that wasn't about money. Tell me about one conversation we've had where you asked about my life, my job, my happiness, anything that mattered to me. The silence is deafening. I can hear her thinking, searching, and coming up empty. We care about you, she says finally, but even she sounds unconvinced. You care about what I can provide. There's a difference. Emily, you're being unfair. Madison is your sister. This baby is your niece. Don't you want to be part of their lives? I want to be part of a family that actually wants me in it, not just my bank account. What are you saying? I look out my window at the mountains, at the life I've built here, at the peace I've found in being forgotten by people who only remembered me when they needed something. I'm saying no. Mom, I'm not paying for the venue. I'm not contributing to the registry. And I'm not coming to the baby shower. Emily. And before you tell Madison that I'm being selfish or jealous or whatever story you're going to create to explain this, you should know that I have screenshots of everything. The website, the photos I've been edited out of, the anonymous donor designation, all of it. I wouldn't tell the truth, share the evidence of how this family actually treats me. Emily, please, don't do anything rash. We can talk about this. We just did talk about it, and your silence told me everything I needed to know. I hang up before she can respond. My hands are shaking, but it's not from fear. It's from relief. For the first time in my adult life, I've told my family exactly what I think of them, and the sky hasn't fallen. The mountains are still there. My apartment is still mine. My life is still my own. My phone starts ringing immediately. It's my mother calling back. I decline the call and turn off my phone. Tomorrow, they'll regroup and strategize. They'll decide I'm having some kind of breakdown, that I don't really mean it, that I'll come around once I've cooled off. They're wrong. But they're about to find out just how wrong. I keep my phone off for exactly 24 hours. When I finally turn it back on Friday evening, there are 17 missed calls and 43 text messages waiting for me. The first wave came from my mother, starting just minutes after I hung up. Emily, please call me back. We need to talk about this. You're upset and I understand, but we can work this out. Don't make any decisions while you're emotional. Then Madison joined the assault. Mom told me about your call. I don't understand why you're being like this. This is supposed to be about celebrating my baby, not whatever issues you're having. I thought you'd be excited to be an aunt. By morning, the messages had evolved into something darker. Madison again. I can't believe you're trying to ruin my baby shower over money. I never asked you for anything. You've always been jealous that I found happiness and you didn't. No wonder you're alone who would want to be with someone this selfish. My mother's messages became increasingly desperate. Emily, people are asking questions about the venue. We need to know your decision. Madison is crying. She's pregnant and stressed, and this isn't good for the baby. How can you be so cruel to your own family? But it's the message from my father that stops me cold. Your mother is beside herself. Fix this. Not, let's talk about this, or I'd like to understand your perspective. Just fix this. As if I'm a broken appliance that needs to start functioning properly again. I scroll through the rest of the messages. My Aunt Linda weighing in, family sticks together. Emily, don't let pride ruin this. A cousin I haven't heard from in 2 years. Madison is devastated. Whatever she did, she doesn't deserve this. The narrative is already being written, and I'm the villain, the bitter, jealous sister who can't stand to see Madison happy, the selfish woman who would destroy a pregnant woman's dreams over money, the cold, calculating outsider who moved to Colorado and forgot where she came from. But then I get a text from Jessica, my old high school friend. "Hey, heard there's some family drama about the baby shower. Madison's been telling people you backed out of paying for the venue because you're going through something. Just thought you should know what story is getting around town." Going through something, as if my objection to being treated like an ATM is a mental health crisis. I screenshot Jessica's message and add it to my growing file of evidence. Then I start documenting everything else. Every text message demanding I fix this. Every voicemail explaining how my selfishness is hurting Madison. Every attempt to guilt me back into compliance. My phone rings. It's Madison. Against my better judgment, I answer. "Finally," she says, and her voice is sharp with anger. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" I've stopped pretending our relationship is anything other than transactional. "That's not Emily. This is my baby shower. I've been planning this for months. Everyone's already been invited." "Then you should have planned a baby shower you could afford." "I can't believe you're being this petty." "Over what? Because you're not listed as a donor on the website. We can change that." "It's not about the website, Madison." "Then what is this really about?" I take a breath. "When's the last time you called me just to see how I was doing?" "I what?" "Simple question. When's the last time you called me because you missed me or wanted to catch up or cared about my life?" Silence. When's the last time you asked about my job, my friends here, whether I'm happy in Colorado?" More silence. "When's the last time you treated me like a sister instead of a bank?" "That's not fair." Her voice is smaller now. "Isn't it you've been telling people I'm going through something because I won't pay for your party, but you don't actually know what I might be going through because you've never asked?" "Emily, You edited me out of family photos. Madison. Photos from events I flew back for, that I paid to attend. You literally erased me from your memories while asking for my money." That wasn't. "You've been planning this baby shower for months, and the only time you reached out to me was to ask for $19,000. Not to invite me personally. Not to ask if I wanted to be involved in planning. Just to pay for it." I can hear her crying now, but it doesn't move me the way it used to. "I thought we were family," she whispers. "So did I. But family doesn't edit each other out of photos. Family doesn't disappear for months and then show up demanding money. Family doesn't spread stories about your mental health when you set boundaries." "What do you want from me, Emily?" "Nothing. That's the point. I don't want anything from you anymore." "You can't just cut us off. We're your family." "You cut me off first. You just expected me to keep paying for the privilege of being ignored." The line goes quiet except for her sniffling. "So that's it," she says finally. "You're just going to abandon your family." "I'm going to stop funding people who treat me like I don't exist." "The baby. We'll have plenty of aunts and uncles who actually want to be in her life. She won't miss someone she never knew." I hang up before she can respond. My hands are steady this time. The relief is stronger than before. Within an hour, the family group text that I was never actually included in starts generating individual messages to me. Aunts and uncles and cousins all weighing in, all telling me I'm making a mistake, all insisting that family forgives and forgets. But none of them offering to pay for the venue themselves. None of them asking why I'm upset or what happened or whether there might be another side to this story. They want me to fix this, but they don't want to understand what broke it in the first place. I turn my phone off again and open my laptop. It's time to stop defending myself to people who were never actually listening. It's time to let the truth speak for itself. I spend Saturday morning preparing what I'm calling my documentary evidence. Not a rant, not an emotional outburst, but a methodical presentation of facts that speaks for itself. The video I record is 15 minutes and 37 seconds long. I sit at my kitchen table with the mountains visible through the window behind me, wearing a simple gray sweater and no makeup. My voice is calm, almost conversational, as if I'm explaining a work project to colleagues. My name is Emily Carter. I begin. I'm 32 years old. I live in Boulder, Colorado, and I work for a consulting firm called Brightpoint Solutions. 11 months ago, I moved here from my hometown of Ridgefield, Ohio, where my parents and sister still live. I pause, looking directly into the camera. In those 11 months, my family has contacted me exactly once. 3 days ago, I received an invitation to my sister Madison's baby shower, along with a handwritten note from my mother asking me to contribute $19,000 toward the venue rental. I hold up the invitation and note, letting the camera focus on my mother's elegant handwriting. This request came after nearly a year of complete silence. No phone calls asking how I'm settling into my new city. No texts checking if I'm okay. No interest in my life, my work, or my well-being. Just a request for money. I set the invitation aside and open my laptop. I decided to do some research, both into the event they want me to fund and into my own financial history with my family. The screen capture software I downloaded shows my spreadsheet in clear detail as I scroll through it. Over the past 5 years, I have given my family $27,450, student loan payments for my sister, emergency home repairs for my parents, wedding expenses, car repairs, rent assistance, medical bills, the list goes on. I let the numbers speak for themselves, scrolling slowly so viewers can see each entry. The repaid column, as you can see, is entirely empty. These weren't loans. They were gifts, given freely because I believed family helps family. I switched to screenshots of Madison's baby shower website. This is the website for the event I'm being asked to fund. As you can see, it features an elaborate registry of luxury items and a venue that accommodates up to 150 guests. At the bottom, you'll notice the list of contributing family members. I zoom in on the anonymous donor designation. That's me, the anonymous donor, not Emily or loving Aunt Emily, just anonymous, because while they want my money, they don't want to acknowledge where it's coming from. I click through the family photo gallery. These are photos from family events over the past year. I was present at several of these gatherings. I have the original photos on my phone to prove it. I hold up my phone, showing the unedited versions side by side with the website images. But as you can see, I've been digitally removed from every single photo, not cropped out, edited out entirely. Someone took the time to erase me from family memories while simultaneously expecting me to fund family celebrations. My voice remained steady, matter of fact. When I called my mother to discuss this, I asked her a simple question: if I didn't have money, would you have invited me to this baby shower? The silence that followed was my answer. I close the laptop and look back at the camera. I want to be very clear about something. This isn't about the $19,000. I can afford $19,000. This is about being treated like a bank account with feelings instead of a human being with value beyond my financial contributions. I pause, choosing my words carefully. For years, I accepted the narrative that my worth to my family was tied to my ability to solve their financial problems. I told myself that their lack of interest in my life was just busy schedules, that their requests for money were temporary hardships, that their criticism of my choices came from a place of love. I shake my head slowly. But when you're editing someone out of family photos while asking them to fund family celebrations, that's not love. That's exploitation. I lean forward slightly. I've been told I'm being selfish, that I'm abandoning my family, that I'm ruining my sister's special day. But I want you to consider this. In the past year, which party has been more interested in maintaining a relationship, the sister who moved away and built a new life while hoping to hear from family, or the family who maintained complete silence until they needed money? I sit back. I'm not the one who abandoned this relationship. I'm just the one who stopped funding it. I pause for a long moment, letting that sink in. I'm sharing this not to hurt anyone, but because I think it's important for people to understand what financial abuse within families can look like. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's just the slow erosion of your value as a person until all that's left is your value as a provider. I looked directly into the camera one final time. To my family, if you're watching this, I hope you find someone else to pay for your venue, and I hope that person is smart enough to ask for their name on the website. I stop recording and save the file. For a moment, I just sit there, looking at the file icon on my desktop. 15 minutes and 37 seconds that represent the end of everything I used to think family meant. But instead of sadness, I feel something I haven't experienced in years: complete honesty. I don't post the video immediately. Instead, I send it to 3 people: Jessica, my friend in Ridgefield, Sarah, my hiking buddy here in Boulder, and my colleague Janet at work. I ask them to watch it and give me their honest opinion. All 3 respond within hours. Jessica texts, "Holy shit, Emily, I had no idea. This explains so much about how they talk about you." Sarah calls me directly. "I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. That took incredible courage." Janet's response is the most telling. "This is the most composed and professional character assassination I've ever witnessed. Your family has no idea what's about to hit them." At 11:30 that night, I upload the video to my personal social media accounts with a simple caption: "Some family stories need to be told." Within minutes, the shares begin. By morning, Ridgefield is going to wake up to a very different version of the Emily Carter story. And I'm going to sleep better than I have in years. The baby shower happens on Saturday, November 16th, exactly as planned. I know this because Jessica sends me updates throughout the day, along with photos that guests are posting on social media. The turnout is smaller than expected, much smaller. According to Jessica, about 40 people show up instead of the projected 150. The elegant ballroom at Grandview Manor looks sparse, with round tables designed for 10 guests seating only 4 or 5. The elaborate floral arrangements seem excessive for the modest crowd, and the premium catering service has clearly prepared for a much larger event. Madison looks beautiful in her flowing maternity dress, but there's a tension in her smile that the professional photographer can't quite hide. In every photo, she's surrounded by the same core group of family members, with noticeable gaps where other guests would normally be. The gift table tells its own story. Instead of the luxury items from her registry, there are practical presents, handmade blankets, basic baby clothes, a few books, several guests. According to the whispered conversations Jessica overhears, decided not to bring gifts at all after watching my video. Because by Saturday morning, my video has been viewed over 8,000 times and shared by dozens of people in Ridgefield's social circles. The comments range from supportive to shocked to angry, but the most common response is some variation of, "I had no idea Emily was being treated this way." Jessica forwards me screenshots of the local social media groups where my video is being discussed. One woman writes, "I always wondered why Emily never came to family events anymore. Now I know why." Another, "Madison's baby shower registry was ridiculous anyway. Who needs a $1,200 crib?" But it's the comment from Mrs. Patterson, my high school English teacher, that hits deepest. Emily Carter was one of the kindest, most generous students I ever taught. If she felt the need to make this video, then her family failed her long before she failed them. The real impact becomes clear when Jessica calls me that afternoon. "Emily, you need to know what happened. Madison had a complete meltdown during the gift opening. Someone asked about the venue contribution, and she just started crying and couldn't stop. She kept saying, 'Emily ruined everything,' over and over. And your mother tried to damage control, telling people you were going through a difficult time and asking for privacy. But then, Tom Rodriguez, you remember him from high school, he stood up and said he'd watched your video and wanted to know why the family thought it was okay to ask for $19,000 from someone they'd been ignoring." I can picture the scene, the awkward silence, the shifting glances, the sudden understanding that this wasn't just about money. "What did my mother say?" "She didn't say anything. She just sat there. But your Aunt Linda got defensive and started talking about family loyalty. And then Tom's wife pointed out that loyalty goes both ways. It got really uncomfortable really fast." Jessica pauses. Emily, I don't think Madison got more than $3,000 total in gifts, and several people left early. The whole thing was just sad. That evening, my phone explodes with messages, but this time, they're different. My mother, Emily, please call me. We need to talk. Really talk. Madison, I watched your video. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. Even my father, who never texts, "You were right to be angry." But the message that surprises me most comes from my cousin Amy. I never realized how badly we'd been treating you. I'm ashamed of myself. You deserved better from all of us. I don't respond to any of them immediately. Instead, I go for a long hike in the mountains, where the air is thin and clean and the only sounds are my footsteps and the wind through the trees. When I get home that evening, I find one final message waiting. It's from Madison, sent just an hour earlier. Emily, I know you probably won't read this, but I need to say it anyway. I watched your video 3 times, and each time I felt sicker about how we've treated you. You're right about everything. We did erase you from our lives while expecting you to fund them. We did take your generosity for granted. We did fail you as a family. I don't know if you'll ever forgive us, but I want you to know that I'm going to do better. The baby deserves to know her aunt, the real you, not just the version of you that we created to make ourselves feel better about using you. I love you, and I'm sorry. I read the message twice, then set my phone aside. Maybe Madison means it. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe my family will actually change, or maybe they'll just get better at pretending until the next time they need something. But for the first time in my adult life, none of that is my problem to solve. I walk out onto my balcony and look at the mountains silhouetted against the sunset. Tomorrow, I'm going to wake up in my own space, in a city where people know me as Emily the consultant, Emily the hiker, Emily the woman who makes excellent coffee and always tips well, not Emily the ATM, not Emily the disappointment, just Emily. And that's enough. That's more than enough. That's everything. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it resonates with anyone who's ever felt like their worth was measured by what they could provide, rather than who they are. If you're listening to this from anywhere in the world, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever had to set boundaries with family? How did it go? Please subscribe to the channel if this story moved you, and share your own experiences. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is realize we're not alone in these struggles.